What is going on YouTube? Team Relic here. I'm host Henrico with my child, my Canadian son that I adopted. Actually, no, I had physical relationship with his mom, John, aka Canada. He's gonna show us a quick deck profile of Victor.
Nova Grapplers, because they got really good. They
No, they
really,
didn't.
really good. Yes, they did. You just haven't played them yet. You
Alright,
will.
Alright, prove me and America wrong.
America?
Yes.
Alright. So, for starters, we have our starter, which is Extreme Battle Rumble. He, in short, is Riot Horn with a GB restriction. When a unit stands in front of him, he stands himself. This is really good because, unlike all other Nova starters, he doesn't cost a counterblast, and he's just a sufficient booster that stays around until he's killed, which is fine, because if he's killed, then other important units stays. But if not, he stays around, and he, whenever units stand up, which is the point of this deck, he's a constant 5k boost, so your columns go up by 1 degree and get harder to guard by that 1+5. And he helps a lot because of the restand.
That's fine.
So, on the grade 3s, we play 4 Extreme Battler Victor. The Break Stride of the deck, the most important card of the deck. His Break Stride effect is when you stride on top of him, your new Vanguard gains the skill of when the when you swing, you can counterblast 1 and restand the unit and give it 5k. This is really good because you get in multiple attacks. You get power to the next degree. It's really good. It's really simple, but it works very effectively. And his GB2 is which helps him works when he's alone. When he swings, he himself gains 5k, and he restands a unit and gives it 5k for free, which is really good.
It's not bad.
Just push at your opponent. That's the whole point of this deck, actually, just to push at your opponent. And then 3 of the backup is the Crystaldevil.
Yep.
His first skill won't go off a lot because you actually only run one rush unit in this deck, but his GB when he's the Vanguard is when he swings, you target a rush unit, you restand that, and you restand it, and then you give that rush unit the skill of when it swings, you restand it. So when more rush unit comes out, he'll be more prevalent because you just restand and then restand again, and obviously rush is when a unit restands, it gains an ability, so it'll gain that ability twice. But for right now, he's a good backup because of his second skill, which is when he's placed on Vanguard, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, target a unit, and when that unit is done swinging, 1 time only, restand it and give it 2k. It's okay, the card has to be on the board, so it's not the best of abilities, but it does what it has to do, and it's really good for that purpose. Restanding is never bad, and that's what you want if you're not on Victor. And we only play 7 3s because you want to see Victor first, obviously.
Yeah, Victor's always a better option.
Always. And then on to grade 2s. Play 4 Starlight Hedgehog. I'm 4 of her because she helps the deck tremendously. Her ability is that when she's placed on Vanguard or Rearguard, you target a rearguard, and that rearguard gains the skill of when this unit stands, you draw a card and then unflip a damage, and you can only do that once that turn. She's good for the fact that she does 2 things that your deck likes. She unflips and she draws. The draw is really important, and so is the unflip. She digs through your deck, and she's a prime unit that you can just throw down in the beginning. You don't care if she's retired because she replaces herself, and you see more cards, which is really good with her. And then you unflip. Basically, the only time you're counterblasting in this deck is when you're restanding a unit. So basically, when you do her skill, you're gonna get a free restand on a rearguard just because it has the skill on it, and then you're drawing a card because of it. The AK base is weak, and I understand that's not a good reason to run 4 of the card, but I like to see it early, and I want to see it early, and she helps a lot to see later pieces, so running 4 of it guarantees I see it early, and just makes things better down the line for her.
Yeah, not bad. Weak grade 2, but good effects.
And that's a lot. Anyway, on to the next one. We've got the Glimmer Breath clone that's actually a rare, which is Extreme Battler Arbarail. His effect is that you counterblast 1 and soul blast 1 when he's placed on rearguard. He gains 2k if you have Victor Vanguard, and if you have Victor Vanguard, he also gains the skill when this unit attacks, you restand the unit and give it 5k. So, as you can see, there's a lot of dumb things that you can do with this deck. You can restand the unit plenty of times, having a lot of power, pushing your opponent a lot of times. Just makes it really strong. Him being a solo unit that just being able to restand your Vanguard besides your main guy Victor is really good. And he works by himself. It just makes him really good. And then you get around things by attacking a rear guard with it, not activating the skill, restand it thanks to either Victor or one of your strides, and then swing with it and then actually use the skill to restand.
Of course.
Just makes it really good. I just like it for the sole fact that he works on his own, and he's very cheap. So cards that work on their own in Nova Grapplers is always good because you don't want to play down too many units if you're facing destruction. And Arbarail is just really good.
Not bad, not bad.
And then 3 Cool Hank. Only 3, because in my opinion, Arbarail is better. You're never going to use, because of that Soul Blast cost, it's obvious that you're never going to use 4 Arbarails in a match, but you want to see them earlier. Cool Hank is there because he's another restander like Arbarail. He's just the Amber clone. He needs to be boosted. When he's boosted and you have the Nova Grappler, obviously, you counterblast 1, restand the rear guard, and give a 5k. The only thing he has over Arbarail is that you can use him more than one time, but I like to just play less of him and see him later because since he requires the booster, it's just better to have cards that do not earlier on, and then later on he becomes more effective because you actually have the cards to boost with because you're drawing so much.
Of course.
But he's just very solid. Having, as you see from this lineup right now, you have 7 cards that are able to restand rear guards, which is, 7 cards beside your Vanguard that are able to restand rear guards, which is really good. Very good for Nova Grapplers.
So you're not playing the extreme battle that restands itself. When it restands, you do. You play the one. Oh, okay.
One for the main reason that when you see my grade 1s, it'll make a little bit of sense, which is why I'm going to leave this off to the side. But he's really good as a 1-of because he's really good by himself, because obviously his ability is GB1. When he restands, he gives himself 5k, and a lot of the units in this deck, when they restand the unit, it gives it 5k, so he becomes 19 on his own, and he only goes up 10 every time he restands. It makes him really good. But there's a reason why I only run 1, and I'm gonna leave it off to the side right now, later to explain why.
Alright.
Right now, I'm gonna get into the perfect guards, and I run 4 Lady Cyclone. We did get a new one in the GBT06 set, but I like this one a lot better because it unflips damage, and Novas need to unflip damage in order to work. There's nothing else more to say about it. The unflip is just too good not to have.
Of course, you literally counterblast almost twice per game, per turn.
Yeah, every turn is like 2 counterblasts at the least, which is also why Starlight Hedgehog is really good. Obviously 4 stride assists because it's a stride-based deck.
Yeah.
You want to see Victor as soon as possible, so it's good to call these down early in the game to, if you need to, make a column with the Rumble, because 12 every turn is annoying. That's just my opinion, but in other ways, he's just a stride enabler, and that's very important in this deck.
Of course.
Then 4 of the new grade 1 for Victor, which is really, really good. Really revived this deck in my opinion. Its ability is that if you have a Vanguard with Victor and you have a unit in front of it, that unit in front of it constantly has the skill of Rush, and Rush is only active when a unit gets restood. When it restands, it gains the ability of Vanguard or Rearguard. You get to give 2 units 4k. So basically, what this does is it allows you to reach higher tier column numbers just by 1 restand. For example, if you have, which is normally the case, a 9k in front of it, you swing and it restands, and then you swing again. This is it's got +5 from an ability that obviously happened, and this is 20. This is 21 on its own, and then he himself will give himself and the card in front of him that just attacked 4k. So it's basically just went up an extra 10k block. And it went up an extra 5k worth of guard, which is really important. It just allows you to hit higher tier numbers when you restand, which is what you're going to be doing anyway. If you apply more numbers to units when you restand, it's really good.
Of course, better columns, better numbers, better
And this does stack. If you restand the unit in front of it twice, it gains that skill twice. It will get to give 4 units 4k.
That's good.
Which is really good. You already are restanding a lot, and there are times when you restand more than 4 times. So, excuse me, 2 times. So this skill will happen a lot. And then, for the reason that you only play 1 Extreme Battler Sansa, is you play 2 Kumar to destroy. They're literally the same thing, except they're printed differently. Him is that when he restands, he gives himself +5. Him is when he has rush. When he restands, he gets the red text skill of when he attacks, he gains +5, and that's stacks. So every time he restands, he gains this red text of when he attacks, he gains 5k. So every time he restands, he goes 17, 27, 37 because you're restanding with +5.
Not bad.
19, 29, 39. It makes a difference if you have a 7k booster. Obviously, this will become like 16 or 26, but mathematically, in most cases, these hit the same numbers most of the time. You're sacrificing boosters at times because you're using these as attackers, but there are times when you can make those sacrifices, and it's worth it if you can cut. Because the only reason I did this was to cut space for important grade 2s like the Starlight Hedgehog and the restanders.
Of course.
And in my opinion, it's just worth it because thanks to Mayaki, you're able to make anything a big beater. So just having these, it like guarantees your win later in the game because you're gonna have these huge column attacks later. And that's just important later on. And I don't know. In my opinion, just having a grade 1 Sazanda that literally just does the same thing, just printed differently, is a lot better for the deck, and it's a lot more sufficient. That's just my opinion, though.
Well, that's fine with me.
And then on to triggers. You run 8 crit, so 4 of the Victor crit, the Heart Thump clone. So put it to soul charge it, and give a Victor, give your Vanguard Victor 5k when it swings. And then 4 Red Lightning, because Red Lightning is also important. Red Lightning skill is put it into soul from rearguard as an act, and then unflip a damage. It's important because you counterblast a lot. You counterblast way too much. So sometimes it's worth it just to throw it away and then just unflip a damage. And a good turn 2 play if you want to conserve cards to your hand. I'm just gonna have this off top. If you have your Vanguard as Victor, and then you have Rumble on the side,
Of course.
as you normally should, you can, and your Vanguard's a 9k because they just went for, you either went first or they're staying stuck. You swing 9, then you swing with your Vanguard for 11, soul charge, 16, draw card, and swing. So you conserve, you got 2 attacks, you conserve cards in your hand,
And you're still drawing a card.
you're still drawing a card, and you're still like, you're not leaving them units to screw around with, which is really good. So he has more uses than just that. He also has a good use with most of the strides, which I'll go into, but right now you just need to know that Heart Thump clones are very, very good, and unflipping crits are really, really good. That's the main gist of these 2 cards. Then next, we run 4 draws, obviously, because Nova Grapplers have a problem with drawing. It doesn't matter what you want to run.
And of course, I need to get those rearguards.
Yep, and these actually can become sufficient rearguards or boosters on their own. Thanks to Mayaki, they actually make sufficient rearguards on their own, or boosters on their own, which is what they come in with Cool Hank for. So it just makes them even better that they serve more purpose than just being a draw trigger. But vanilla draw, you don't have any other option, and you just want to see pieces. And 4 heals for Ringo Clara.
Yeah, it's standard. There's not much to say about that.
There's no effect heals, so you can run whatever you want. And these are my favorite heals, so I just run them because I want to. Fight me about it. Anyway, onto the stride deck. Most important part.
16 strides.
16 strides. We run, first off, get into the small ones first. We run 1 Sebreeze because this deck is GB reliant. I don't see myself going into it a lot. Usually it's a flip target for one of my other units in the G zone, but if there's a case where I need to, and my hand is really, really lacking and my opponent's staying grade stuck, I just stride, do plays, see more cards, which is what I'm supposed to, and then next turn stride and be a GB2 because that's what I like to do. It's okay. Sebreeze is not the god that everybody's saying it was, but it's okay. Then you run 1 Tribute. This is to give yourself retiring power against certain matchups. His effect is that when he's on Vanguard and a rear guard stands up, you can counterblast 1, give that unit 2k, and then you retire a unit with equal to or less power than that unit. So it gives you a little bit of retiring power on your side, and it gives yourself a little bit of control. It's like some matchups this is good against is Royals. You retire their important grade 1s like Vogel if they keep it on board, or
Revengers gets rid of full. It gets rid of Judge
it gets rid of Judge Battle, it gets rid of Doran. I know there's more examples. Against Link Joker, you get rid of their Limerick Enabler.
Yeah.
It's just really... Oh yeah, against Angels, you get rid of Broken Heart. That's really important. You get rid of Broken Heart. And it's really easy to get off, and it's... While it does sound like you need a lot of cards to retire, you really don't, because Runbull's amazing starter. I've done this play a lot, where I have Strideheart as Victor, and I have Runbull on the rear, and I have Starlight Hedgehog in my hand, and 2 damage. Let's just say I'm unlucky because I can't G-guard. So what I do is I stride onto this. I call Starlight Hedgehog. I target this so that when it restands, I unflip a damage and draw a card. I'll swing 13 at the Vanguard or rear guard. Depends on how I feel. Then I'll go swing 26. I'll counterblast 1. I'll restand my Starlight Hedgehog. I'll give her 5k. And then I counterblast 1, give her 2k. So she becomes 16. I kill anything. There's no unit that's base 16,000 power. And then Rumble skill, restand. Thanks to Starlight Hedgehog, you unflip and you draw a card. And then you counterblast 1 with Tribute again and you kill another card. So you basically just killed 2 cards for 2 counterblasts, you drew a card. And this column is 13, 18, got +2 from this and +2 from that. So 22k column without triggers.
Not bad.
That's with nothing else. So Tribute is really good just for clearing board. It eats up a lot of counterblasts, but in the right situations, it's worth it just to get rid of board. You should know about that, right, Henry?
Of course.
Just punch the whole board.
I don't retire. I punch.
All right. Then on to more strides. They go on to 3 Bustered. This card is the card from the Fighters Collection, the GR. It is, to be honest, it's okay. You can. I've done this a couple times, and I'm sad to say that I did because I was wrong. When you
It's not that good.
Basically its effect is that on Vanguard, when it swings, you can counterblast 1 and unflip anything from the G zone, and then you restand up to the number of copies that you have of him on the board.
Okay.
So, and then when 2 units stood up and you have a whole board, you also gain the skill of counterblast 1 at the end of the battle that you attacked. You ditch 2, and you get -3. You get -2 drive, and then you restand. So basically, you get in a couple of restands, and you become a much more beneficial Victoplasma. The only difference is that you need a whole board. You only have 1 drive check afterwards, and you get 3 drives at the beginning. The thing that I was messing up on, and if people do this, you can catch them for it now. I thought that in the turn, if 2 units restood, his skill goes off. You need to restand 2 units with his skill in order for it to go off. So basically what has to happen is you have to have 2 face up in your G zone in order for it to work. So usually what I do with him is that I will stride into 1 first, get counterblast 1 to get 1 free easy restand, and then next turn, if I have the resources to do so, and I now have 2 face up in the G zone, I can stride another 1, counterblast 1, either unflip a Tribute or a Sebreeze, depending on what I feel like, because there's no way I use these amount of counterblast if I use this, and then I get my skill, which is really good.
So that's why you don't even run 4, you just need 3, really.
Yeah, you give yourself more options, because I really don't see the point in running 4. I mean, it clogs up extra X space. And it's a heavy cost. You need a full board, you need to restand 2 units, you need to wait 2 turns.
Gotcha.
However, which is really good because of this, if you have Victor Strideheart, which you normally do, and you have these critical triggers on board, you do have the 5 units on board when you swing. When you restand, you can swing, shove these to soul, draw cards, replenish your hand, leave spots on the board that are open, and just, you know, build up your hand even though you committed to board because of these critical triggers.
Nice.
Which
Build
is
more hand, yeah.
which is the main thing. He's, as I said before, he's okay. He's a good finisher. If you're playing a deck that's not Chaos Breaker or Brawlers.
Kagero.
Yeah, something like that.
Because you gotta protect your back row.
Either that or Griffin, and it just doesn't work.
Oh yeah, Griffin's gonna be horrible. Unless you under resist.
Which this deck does not have a resist grade 2.
Aw.
At least I don't think so, not from my knowledge.
Alright.
Either way, the Fora, which helps you against all control matchups, and it's the best restander that Novas have.
Victoplasma.
4 Victoplasma.
Meteokaiser.
Very simple restand. Counterblast 2, unflip a copy of him at GB2.
Technically,
Have Twin Drive now, and then after you're done swinging, ditch 2 and restand. Seems very simple, but the thing is, that's all it needs to be. The fact that you're able to get 2 Vanguard attacks in a deck that is very rearguard attack based is really, really good. If you face against Chaos Breaker or any deck that loves retiring your board, this card will straight up just win you the game sometimes because he does all the damage for you in himself. He's like the only Nova Grappler that doesn't require rearguards, which is really, really good. He does it all by himself, and I'm very grateful for that. Oh, big thing. People do this. Seen it before. If you have Victor as Stride Heart, and you swing with Victoplasma, and you decide not to use the skill, you restand. You cannot use the skill anymore. You missed the chance to use the skill because you just attacked the Vanguard, so you must use it the first time you swing.
Yep.
That's how the rulings work.
They don't account for restanding Vanguards, so
Nope. Because
you gotta watch out.
You got your chance to use it. If you chose not to do it, it's your fault.
Alrighty.
And then 4 of the Stride that brought this deck back from the grave.
Back from the grave.
4 Victor.
Meteokaiser Victor.
His skill is you flip him up, and then as an act, flip him specifically up. When you hit the Vanguard, you restand the unit, give it 5k.
Okay.
GB3, when you have 2 or more face up, when you attack, you restand the unit, give it 5k.
Alright.
So it's really, really good. It's very costless. It doesn't cost a counterblast, and I thank God for that because it's like the one Nova Stride that doesn't cost a counterblast in this whole thing. So it leaves you free to do all your counterblasting effects for your rearguards to do it, and then you just get in a lot of restanding with this thing.
Oof.
It's really, really good, and it's good as a first stride too because you flip and then you attack. And then you destride, so you have GB2 face up for Victor if you can't stride anymore.
Yeah, when you go in the plasma, or even like if you want to go Buster.
Yeah, Bustered also does GB2 for you. So because you attack, you flip him up, and then you have 2 face up. And also, I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic. Victoplasma, forgot to mention with him. If you have not strode yet, you can counterblast 4 and restand on your first stride.
That's true. Against aggro matchups, especially cards that don't have a lot of that have to sacrifice a lot of their hand just to have field presence, Victoplasma can punish that immensely, especially if the opponent's at like 3 or 4 damage. Then they can't guard that much.
Yep, and especially this card because I just like it because it's free.
Yeah.
No counterblast is really good, and you just have free +5s going around all across your board. You get a good restand. And it's a good first stride because it replaces your rare on hit.
Oh
The original on hit, because it literally has the same effect.
Pretty much, and then extra benefit if you want stride into it afterwards. All right, so it goes over to 12 strides.
13.
13.
3G guards.
Okay, so 3G guards.
You run varied amount. So first of them is the Deep Lease G guard.
Okay.
It's okay. It doesn't go off all the time, but it goes off when it should, when you're in a bad position. Its effect is that when you G-guard, it gains +5 if you have more damage or equal to your opponent. So, you could G-guard with it early and then give yourself GB2 just to
have
do
Victor goes off and
or do Victoplasma go off early. But the main reason you just want to keep this specific G-Guard just to be able to +5 shield later. It's really important to be able to have a good defense in Nova Grapplers. G-Guards really help Nova Grapplers. That's my opinion, but yeah.
Helps to make their skills live a lot more.
It helps them make them live and it helps them live, which is really important because if you're rushing out your opponent and you only have like 6 cards in hand, it's good if one of them is a heal trigger to G-Guard with, because one of them could protect you straight outright in there.
All right.
The next is I'm just gonna show them both.
Yeah.
It's
the duo.
The two Cray Elementals, Dark Element Dizmel and Metal Element Scryew. Screwew's effect is that when you G-Guard and you have already one G unit face up in your G-Zone,
Kind of like the Olivia requirement in a way.
you discard 1 card from your hand and gain 15,000 shield.
10,000.
Excuse me, 10,000 shield.
So it goes up to 26k shield to put you at
36.
36 or 37 actually if you want. Yeah, because that's no 15. So 15, yeah, 25. So 36. I'm sorry.
Yep.
All
Which
right.
is really good because if your opponent's attacking you with an unboosted G unit, you can just G-Guard into the paths right then and there.
Yeah,
Which
and
is really good. I think Scryew is one of the it acts like a perfect guard, and you have to ditch a card on top of ditching a heal trigger. But I honestly do think that Scryew is the best Cray Elemental G guard, in my opinion.
That's my take too. Because 25k shield ain't anything to laugh at.
Nope. And then Dark Element Dizmel, its ability is that when it's placed on Guardian, you it has resist, and not only the benefit that you're G-guarding, you target a unit and it cannot die by attacking, and it cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects.
That's a major thing.
So it just doesn't die. It's really important because you're saving important units on your board if you know your opponent's gonna full on attack them. Like some units, for example, could be Sazanda.
Yeah.
Some other units, for example, could be I don't know, Cool Hank. Just those are the main two, but that's all the benefit that you need. You're just saving these 2 important cards because they do stuff. And Nova Grappler is very rearguard based, so you just want to save important rearguards to do things.
Yeah, Dizmel definitely saves games, and it saves you from committing hand to protect the unit, especially if, say, you get a defensive trigger and you put it on your Vanguard. Alrighty, guys. I hope that you've enjoyed this new age of the Nova Grappler deck profile. Thanks to John for showing us how the deck can work now, especially with the dawn of G-Guardians and how crazy it could be for so many units to go live. And with all the Kaisers and Busters and Victors that are available for Nova Grappler, this is going to be a very, very scary deck, even if you can't even stride, because that GB2 though.
Yep, it's really good. Costless, and you still get off all your skills.
Yep.
It's really good.
Alrighty, guys.
Before we leave, I'm just going to say about matchups real quick. Right now, the only thing the main thing, I've been playtesting a lot with this deck, and the only matchup from my perspective that I think that this deck is hurt against immensely are Link Joker and Kagero. Kagero because of their dumb Denial Griffin G-Guard, and Link Joker for the sole fact that you're locking down your board. You can deal with both of them by pulling it with Victoplasma. Again, Victoplasma works on his own, thank God. But either way, that's it. Thank you for watching YouTube.
Alright, guys. Any comments down below, feel free to, and I'll have John respond to them directly. Alrighty, guys. Team Greylock signing out!